I want to welcome everyone to the Meet the Need monthly user webinar. This month is June, and our topic is Outreach Best Practices and Meet the Need Power Users. I'm excited about what all I have to share with you today. My name is Tanya Nichols. I'm the Director of Member Services. Like I said, we have a lot to cover today, and I hope that our time is fruitful together. But before we get started, I'd like to open us up in prayer, and we can dive right into what all we have to share. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you so much for each and every person on this call, Lord, and even those that are watching the recorded webinar later on. Lord, I pray continued guidance over them, continued wisdom. Lord, I pray for provision and finances and knowledge and resources, Lord, and people. Lord, that everything that they do would be directed toward your kingdom and growing your kingdom, Lord, so that more will be in heaven with you one day. Lord, be with us today as we meet. Let our message be clear. Let my message be clear. Let there be some connections made. And Lord, let us continue to support one another as leaders in your kingdom. It's in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Well, I see that people are arriving on the webinar, so we will go ahead and get started. Again, our topic today is Outreach Best Practices and Meet the Need Power Users. We get a lot of real examples to show you and some users that are using Meet the Need, and let's go ahead and get started. A few tips. I do encourage you to type messages or chats in your Webinar Jam dashboard over on, I think it's on your right-hand side, but you can type your questions in the message box and then click Mark It as a Question. And those questions will come to me on a separate screen, and I can answer those questions as I get a moment to pause in the webinar. And we also have a time at the end of the webinar to answer any questions I didn't get to. You can also chat amongst each other or make comments, not necessarily a question, but comments back and forth through the message box as well. And all the chats and questions are public for everyone to see. So be mindful of what you're sharing, and that is available for us all to see what's happening. And I will be sending a recording of this webinar along with the PowerPoint presentation that I'm using to everyone who registered for the webinar, whether they were able to attend or not. So if you registered, obviously you did if you're on this webinar, then you'll get a copy of this PowerPoint and the webinar as well. Today, we are going to briefly cover the vision of our monthly user webinars, and then we're going to dive into the topics related to best practices on Meet the Need being the complete solution in a city, both short-term and long-term. We're going to look at some website integration and specifically look at 3 churches, 3 nonprofits, 3 city-reaching organizations and their websites and how they're using best practices in mobilizing their volunteers and members to serve through their own websites. We're also going to look at a dashboard overview and talk about when you use different pieces of your dashboard as a Meet the Need user. We're going to look at when you should create events and the best practices and how to create those events. The same thing with creating teams, when and how you should do that. We'll briefly dive in to case management and international missions, and then we're going to dive pretty deep into posting needs. We're going to talk about where and how you post needs, and even get into some HTML coding and how you can customize those postings as those needs are showing on different websites. We're also going to talk about sharing with your community partners and best practices in mobilizing your church members to serve, and best practices in getting your needs met as a ministry or a nonprofit. I'm going to even show you some more Meet the Need Power User examples towards the end of the webinar. We'll have a time for question and answer, and then I'll give you another sneak peek at the Meet the Need volunteer management enhancements that are coming this summer, and direct you to another webinar on details on that. But go ahead right now, before we even get started. You can see we have a lot to cover. But before we get started, mark your calendars for our next webinar, which is Tuesday, August 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern. The webinar topic is volunteer and event management, to get you ready for the fall and diving into those fall activities that happen, that come upon us so quickly after the end of the summer. And every second Tuesday of each month are our webinars, except we're not having a webinar in July. We tend to see that a lot of people are on vacation, people are out, so we will not have a webinar in July, so we'll resume again in August. All right. If someone could in your chat box send me a message and let me know that you hear me okay, you see my screen changing, and that the audio visual, everything's working okay, I would appreciate it. I'm going to keep going and presuming that you're hearing me and that you are seeing everything. It looks like everything's working good on my end, but I always like to get a shout out from someone. You can just do that in the chat box and share it with everyone, and I'll be able to see that. All right, so our Meet the Need user group webinars and beyond. Today is our webinar, which happens the second Tuesday of each month. It's hosted by Meet the Need. We typically have a guest speaker that shares different perspectives or their perspective of using Meet the Need. Today we don't have a guest speaker because I have so much to cram in to it that we don't have a speaker, but we will resume that in August. We usually pick a specific topic to talk about each month. This month it's outreach best practices, empower users, and then we have a time for question and answer. But we really want to see the cities that are using Meet the Need taking it a step further. We'd love to see face-to-face meetings happening in your city where you guys would come together and meet. Maybe that's once a month, once a quarter, a couple times a year, but where churches and ministries and nonprofits and city regional organizations would come together and talk about how you're sharing needs in the community, what you're doing in the community, how you can use Meet the Need to make that easier for you and more efficient and effective, and send us feedback on what's going on, or even include us in your meeting. If you're interested in hosting a face-to-face gathering in your city, let us know. I'll give you the tools and resources needed to connect with other organizations using Meet the Need in your area, and we'll get you started in that respect. But yeah, we want to expand out beyond just these webinars where you're receiving information and asking questions, but you're more sharing within your community. Some of you on the webinar are already registered with Meet the Need. Your organization is registered, you're already using us, and you're wanting to dive deeper, and that's primarily what this webinar is for. But we understand too that some organizations are kind of checking us out, and you are attending this webinar to find out more. If you have not registered your organization with Meet the Need, we advise you to go to meettheneed.org, click Quick Start on our homepage, and walk through, let's see, 1, 2, 3, like 4 steps in registering. It takes less than 10 minutes to walk through these steps and get access to your dashboard to be able to start posting needs, reading reports, managing volunteers, and even showing needs on your website. Within that 10 minutes is a quick dashboard overview, so you'll get a little bit of training during that registration. So we'll make sure that you get started with that, and you'll be contacted by a Meet the Need service representative shortly after registering to see if you have any questions. So definitely do that if you haven't registered as an organization. And keep in mind too, some of you have recently joined Meet the Need, or you may have been a part of us for a while. Everyone's at different stages of kind of implementing and using Meet the Need. Some will dive deeper, some will stay kind of shallow in the water, and that's fine. And we've developed it to where it can be used at a variety of levels. But no matter what, today, or not today, well, yeah, if you register today or you registered anytime, you have everything you need to manage the serving and family activity for your organization on your own website. That's kind of here on the left-hand side where you have all these modules. You can use Meet the Need right away to do everything you need to do outreach-wise for your organization. Longer term with Meet the Need, over the months that come as you share Meet the Need with churches and nonprofits in your area, then there's further benefit because Meet the Need will remain behind the scenes, but you'll be able to connect families in need and organizations' needs with multiple churches and on multiple websites, and be able to manage things behind the scenes for needs to be met and a city to be united in service as a byproduct. We want everyone all the organizations to start using Meet the Need right away, but longer term, that collaboration begins to happen. All right, so let's dive into one of our first topics for today, and that's best practices for your website. This is a kind of a demonstration here. It's a sample website that we took and modified, but we have, 6 different tips here. The first one being, when you're putting needs on your website, as most of you know, Meet the Need doesn't appear anywhere. We make it look like your site, looking like your template. Individual volunteers and users don't see Meet the Need because we want the church to be the forefront of a city and nonprofits to be the forefront of their sites, and for really, we to be the behind the scenes platform to make it all connect. But the first tip that we recommend is that you do access serving from your home page. If you're a church, having that serve at the top, or you can call the button anything you volunteer now, needs in the community, whatever it may be, but you want to have that button or link at the top of your page, so users don't have to scroll down to find it. 2, you don't want to ask individuals to have to register. Let them search for needs in the area, and then they'll register through the process of adopting that need. Kind of like we follow best practices like Amazon.com. You're going to go search for the book that you want to buy, but you're not going to give them your personal information until you're ready to buy the book. We follow those same practices because individuals are used to following that in any website that they go to. So don't ask them to register, just let them search for needs, give them that open link, and let them be able to adopt those needs and register during the adoption process. Number 3, don't reference or mention Meet the Need. We've put a lot of work into making it seamless in appearing on your website so that members and volunteers, you can be the forefront and you can create that culture or that serving initiative within your organization or within your city. So if you don't reference Meet the Need, make it seem like an outside source, people are a lot less reluctant to click and go, wait a minute, where am I being directed? It looks like everything's appearing through your church, through your nonprofit organization. So not referencing Meet the Need is best practice. Number 4, do talk about your serving initiative and build emotion for your volunteers or members to want to serve. We do recommend, for instance, this website has a landing page. They give a little paragraph about, we want our members to serve. Here's our serving culture. Here's why, some biblical scripture, and building the emotion for volunteers and members to want to serve in the community, and then giving them a button to be able to click and see needs. Number 5, for churches, do have clear buttons that highlight a variety of needs. Down here at the bottom, there's our community needs, our church needs, our family needs, our missionary needs. These are all the different kinds of needs you can post to Meet the Need and show on your website. You may have one or more of these buttons, or just one that kind of has all the community, everything together. You can have that, but you will determine in your setup process what types of needs that you'll want to show on your website, and these are the buttons that you can put on your site. We do recommend buttons over hyperlinks because buttons make people want to click. Hyperlinks sometimes get hidden in the text and are hard to see, and some browsers and formats, it's not clear what's a hyperlink and what's just plain text. So buttons are always the best way to go, and then you just simply copy and paste URLs to Meet the Need needs to show those looking like your website. For ministries or nonprofits, you do want to have a button at least on your website that shows just your needs. You're not going to show the homeless shelter across town, or the food bank next door. You're going to be showing just your needs on your website, so you would have buttons like our volunteer needs, our item needs, or just our needs in general. But we'll see some examples of those here in just a moment. Speaking of website examples, we're going to dive right in. Here's some website examples for nonprofits. There's 3 of them here. The first one is Habitat for Humanity in Tampa, Florida. If you notice, they have a big volunteer click here button. That's a great button to have. They call it what they want to call it. They created that button, and then they just copied and pasted the Meet the Need link to it to show their volunteer needs for their organization. There's also one up here, number 2, is Hands of Hope in Fort Worth, Texas. They have a Get Involved button, very similar to the volunteer button at Habitat, but everything is on their site. These buttons you create, and they link directly to the needs that you've posted through your Meet the Need account. Then here's Hands of Hope out of, number 3, sorry. Oh, it looks like I numbered these wrong. Sorry. Hands of Hope, let's forget the numbers for now, but Hands of Hope is, they have 2 buttons. One is Most Needed Items, and one is Volunteer for their needs. So they decided to break out their needs in 2 different buttons because they have a lot of goods needs or item needs, and they have a lot of volunteer needs. So they broke those 2 out, where the other 2 organizations, Habitat only had volunteers that they post needs for. They don't post needs for items, but Citizens Caring for Children have a button that has everything together in it. So you can decide how you want to show needs as a nonprofit. And I also want to recommend too, as you're looking at setting up Meet the Need on your website, if you go to your dashboard under the help menu, there is a document called Local Outreach Tips, and there's Meet the Need Best Practices, a quick reference guide. So whether you're a nonprofit, church, or a city reaching organization, that's a great document to access. Here are some website examples for churches. These are 3 churches. One is Calvary Baptist up here in the top right, where they have a button for a particular event that they have that goes on a few times a year. They have a button to show all their partner needs, and they don't post those needs. Those are needs posted by their partners in the community. They have community needs, which is all the needs in the community, even beyond their partners, for their members to plug into. And then family needs, because they use us for benevolence and case management. They post needs for families, and they want their members to be able to see the needs of families and meet those needs. There's also, what I wanted to point out for Calvary is, notice they're all 4 buttons. Make sure you want to click on them. They stand out very clearly. You don't have to scroll much to find them. They created that landing page that we talked about with the emotion and building of why they want their members to serve. It's a great page that they have set up. Number 2 is Christ Fellowship. They're out of West Palm Beach, Florida. They have 3 buttons: local, global, and serve at the church. And all 3 of these are powered by Meet the Need. Members can quickly click and see what there is to do and connect with specific needs of organizations. All right, the third one is Fellowship Bible Church in Little Rock, Arkansas. They went a little step further, and instead of having buttons that kind of describe groups of different needs, they actually put a button on for each, or an image, a button for each of their partners that they work with. It looks like they have several partners here, almost maybe 20 partners, and each partner has their icon, and when you click on the icon, then it takes you to the needs that particular organization has posted. And they got all their partners on board using Meet the Need, so they all are connected in the same way. They also went a step further on their landing page and broke these, or kind of categorized these partners by different people groups: prison, orphans and foster care, health, food and shelter, and education. So their members could quickly connect with organizations and their needs, depending on where their heart and their passions and their skills and abilities are. Here are some more website examples. These are city reaching organizations. The first one is Serve OK. They have 3 buttons to address the 3 different audiences that they work with and they serve. One is a serve button for volunteers to go and find what all they can do in the community. Then there's a directory button for people who are in need to connect with organizations in the area that are offering services. And that's a customized directory that we did for them. And then there's a partners page for the church and ministry and nonprofit leaders to go to actually find out more about Meet the Need and register with us. So that Serve OK very clearly on the top of their page here. You don't have to scroll. Clear buttons to address all 3 audiences that they serve. And then number 2 here is Missions Radio. And they did it a little differently. They did it kind of like a church, but they are more than just a local organization. They're an international. So they're going to be using Meet the Need for their local needs, national needs, and even international needs. And then they created a landing page about Meet the Need so that their church leaders and nonprofits leaders could find out more about Meet the Need and join. But on that same page, you could also go and search for needs. Then there's Hope for Miami, number 3, obviously down in Miami, Florida. But they are very similar to Serve OK, where they have a volunteer where you can click and see community needs. They have a community directory. We did a customized directory for them as well. And then they have a register for Meet the Need. So it addresses, again, all 3 audiences, those looking to serve, those looking for help, and those leaders in the area looking for resources like Meet the Need. So as a city reaching organization, these 3 websites show great best practices. All right, let's dive a little deeper. This is your Meet the Need dashboard. No matter what kind of organization you are that have joined Meet the Need, you have all your dashboards look similar. You may have some modules showing and not others because you chose to hide or to maximize or minimize certain modules. But there are 4 main modules to Meet the Need. This is a great slide to kind of refer back to. I've got a lot of words on it right now. You might not be able to read them all, but it's a great reference slide where it tells you when you should use which module of Meet the Need. Our dashboard overview video when you first register also hits a lot of this information, but with the first module of Meet the Need, it's volunteer and goods management. You're going to want to post needs under this module if you have ongoing needs throughout the year, if individuals may not be familiar with your organization, and if you want needs posted as separate line items on the search page on your website and on other organizations' websites. You're going to want to post under shared case management and use this module if you're posting for a specific need for a specific family, if you want to track families that are being helped, and if you want to connect approved volunteers directly with families to deliver goods and services so they don't have to go back through your organization to get those goods to the families in need. So that's the volunteer module and the case management module. The third module are events, or is events. If you have an event that has a beginning and an end date, you want to use this module of Meet the Need. If individuals are already familiar with your organization, this is a good module to use. If needs posted as a group, you want them all to, if you want your needs posted as a group in one line item, then the event module is the way to go. And if you want to use group sign up, currently the only module that has group sign up and Meet the Need is events, where people can sign up individually or can register multiple people for a particular need and list who those people are coming, and reminder emails and everything go out to them. The other modules, it's just an anonymous, you say I'm bringing 3 people, but you don't necessarily know who the 3 people are. However, one of our great new features coming with the volunteer management enhancements this summer is that we are expanding that group feature to the volunteer and goods module as well. But you want to use events if you want to add your own logo, create your own categories. If you want users to be able to sort by those categories, you definitely want to use the events screen. And if you want users to be able to sort by date and time and categories, then this is definitely the module you want to use. Number 4 module is the international missions module. If you're posting needs for specific missionaries around the world, or if you want to track which missionaries are being helped by your members or your volunteers, or if you want to post missions trip needs, national or international, then you want to definitely use this missions module for that. So here, that's a brief overview of when to use which module on your dashboard. All right, so we talked about each module. Another kind of section of Meet the Need, it's not a module on its own, because you can use any 4 of the modules we just talked about, and you can create a team. A team is actually underneath the organization, like Sample Church is the organization, and you can create teams under Sample Church. And these teams, how you do that is you go to My Account, My Teams, and you add a new team, or you can view the teams that you already have. And you want to create a team if you want a separate dashboard for maybe your team leaders to empower them to be able to see just their team dashboard, but not see the master organization's dashboard, and you want to limit the access for them to see that. If they will be posting organizational or family needs, or even creating events, as a team, you can still use any of the 4 modules of Meet the Need, but it'll be for just your team, it will be all that you will see. If you want the new needs posted email to go only to a specific team or a group of people, then you want to create a team. And teams are very powerful in being able to let you empower those team leaders to have access to post needs, record visits, manage volunteers, get those reminder emails, communicate with volunteers, and even see reports of everything. This is the master admin view. So as the Sample Church, you can see downward what's happening with all the teams that are created underneath you. But your team leader view is they're only going to see their particular team. Like, say this is Greeter Team A, they're only going to see their team's dashboard and what's happening. But you, as a master org admin, have access to see dashboards of all the teams that are underneath you. Collaborating on outreach events. Let's dive now into the event module a little bit. How you create an event. We already talked about you want to create an event if all of these things, but here's how you do it. You go to create an event, and a pop-up comes up where you enter in the name of your event, the description, enter in your logo, and create all your categories, both goods and volunteers, for that particular event. Now, these categories tend to be rather general. We'll talk about the best practices in picking the types of categories or how to name your categories here in just a moment. But once you create your event, it's going to give you a list of all your events when you go to view events and reports. So again, under that master dashboard, you have access to see all the events that are happening. You even have some reporting here, some columns. You can see how many needs are open for a particular event. You can even extend that data and see how many commitments there are for the different events that are happening. So you have some summary information under that view events and reports. But if you go to the actual dashboard of the event in your drop-down menu, you go to the dashboard and you have all the reports there for that particular team, and that's the view that the team leader sees. The best practices for creating categories for an event, we get this question a lot, is how do I know how to name my categories and create those categories? There's basically 3 different ways that you can decide how you want to create your categories, and you want to pick one of those. You can do it by location. Maybe you've got an event going on and you've got multiple locations, and you got a location downtown, you've got a location on the east side, you got a location on the west side. You can do it by location and create categories per location. You could also do it by skills. Maybe it's not a multiple location event, but it's a multiple skills event. So you might have your categories for like parking and food and entertainment. Or you might do it by people groups. Maybe you have one project that's focused on the elderly, another that's focused on children, another on single parents. You could do your categories by people groups. Just keep in mind, you want to pick one of these, create your categories, but keep in mind that these categories are what your volunteers or your members are going to be able to sort by as they're searching for needs. They'll already be able to sort by date and shift times. So you don't want to do your categories by date or by shift, but use this section to narrow it down even further by either location, by skills, or by people groups. And really, you want to pick the one where you think the end user is going to be wanting to search by most. If location is important because you have multiple locations, then do it that way. If people groups is a big thing for your members and that's how primarily, then choose people groups. Posting multiple shifts for an event need. We get this question a lot, and I want to make sure I addressed it in a webinar. But when you create an event, and you go to your view event screen where you can see how many needs are open for that particular event. If you click on the number right there, there's 1 on this one. If you click on the number next to the event under the open needs report, then that is going to take you to the open needs for that event. And for recurring needs and recurring needs only, you can choose add shifts, and you can add shifts for that particular needs. Like this one is yard work, and they had shifts from 8:30 to 11:30, and they're going to have another shift from 11:30 to 12:30, or maybe it's 11:30 to 1:30, whatever it might be. But you can add multiple shifts without having to post that need over and over and over and over again. We have a quick way to go in for recurring needs and create multiple shifts. So definitely take advantage of that. It helps with the admin and really making your job more efficient. Creating a link for your event. So we created the event. We looked at how you can look at reports for an event. We looked at how you can post multiple needs for an event. Now you need a link for the event so that you can show all these event needs and these nice categories. You want to show them on your website or share them with other organizations to show on their website. You simply go from the Master Organizations dashboard, you'll go to Our Events, View, Track, and Update Events. And beside each event is a Create Link button. When you create a link, a pop-up comes up. You would just simply copy and paste that link into an email or onto your website, or even in social media post to direct people to all the needs that you posted for that particular event. All right, connecting members or leaders to your team or event. There's two different people groups we want to address when we're asked this question. One is volunteers that haven't registered at all yet with your organization or haven't registered at all yet with Meet the Need. What you'll want to do is you'll want to contact your member service representative for a unique link that we'll give you to share with your members. A lot of these are leaders that you want to join a team or event that you've created. And the link looks like your website, and it lists the teams that you've created or the events that you've created for them to join. And then when they join, when they register and join the event or team, they become a pending member of that team, and you can go in and approve them as a key contact if you like, or leave them as a regular member, depending on what access you want them to have. Those are for ones that are not registered yet. You need a unique link. For those that are already registered with your organization, then if you just go simply to your approved members report from your master dashboard, then what you can do is check beside a person's name, and then a group or a drop-down list of all your teams and events show up where you can assign them to any particular team or event and then go change their status on that team or events dashboard. So really it depends on whether that volunteer is not registered yet, where they'll need a unique link for you to connect them, or they're already registered and you can just go in and assign them to a particular team and change their status. All right, benevolence and case management. This was the one of the modules that we talked about at the very beginning, where you can track to see if a particular family has received help previously. You can record what you're giving to that family. You can post needs for your church members to search and adopt needs for that family through your website. You can even schedule the family to come back in the future to get goods and services. And you can collaborate with other organizations to be able to, for different events, and share across organizations. Hey, I see that we want to give a backpack to family A. Well, I can see that family A is already getting a backpack from a ministry across town. So, you know what, family A, we can't give you a backpack right now, but maybe we can give you something else. And, we can direct you to another event that's happening in the area that you've already been registered for. So it helps to cut down duplication of family resources that are being given out so that more families can be helped in an area with the limited amount of resources that all the churches and ministries have. International missions. This section is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you can empower trip leaders to go and post needs for volunteers and goods. You can post them yourselves as an administrator. You can post missionary needs and track who your members are helping around the world, or you can even empower them to post their own needs. But either way, you have a complete module to handle international missions and show those needs on your website and even share them in the area if you want to. All right, so we've kind of hit all four modules: volunteer and goods management, case management, events, and international missions. We even dove a little deeper into teams and events, which are across all modules. Now let's talk about posting needs, because posting needs has to do with all the modules. No matter what you're posting under, they're all very similar. But one thing you want, or some best practices you want to keep in mind, is that you want to empower churches and ministries or nonprofits to post their own needs. If you're a church or a city reaching organization, you're posting needs on behalf of organizations. A lot of times it's hard to get a city going with that model, we found, because then it looks like that one organization is controlling everything in the area and that everything's having to run through them like a clearinghouse. And really, Meet the Need was built to empower individual organizations to have a full platform, and then pieces of that platform are shared amongst the city so that everyone benefits and that everyone can manage their own data without having to burden any one particular organization or even have a bottleneck of one particular organization in the area. So empower everyone to go register with Meet the Need, post their own needs, and then you as an organization can choose to share those needs as you wish. You want to choose the best category and subcategory for your need. When you go to post your need, you're asked, is this a volunteer need or a goods need? Then you're asked, what type of need is it? Is it for education? Is it for construction? Is it for prayer walking? What kind of need is it? And then you choose the best category or subcategory that we have available. And sometimes you may not find the exact category or subcategory that you want, but find the one closest to it, because it's about how users may be searching for that particular need, or searching for a particular need when they're on the search page. You want to keep your need description simple and to the point. You don't want to recap in the need description what your organization does. And this is because what your organization does is already in your organization bio, and in the contact info. So you don't need to repeat it. And, it just helps to keep the search page a lot more efficient. You want to make the quantity of a need realistic and achievable. You don't want to put in there that you need 10,000 of something, because someone only able to donate 1 or 5 of them is going to be like, well, goodness gracious, 1 or 5 isn't going to make a dent in the 10,000 that they need, and they may not give. But so you might want to post in smaller quantities, in order to encourage people, to make them feel like that they're giving a significant contribution. And then, of course, you can always go in and increase those quantities at later dates. You want to post your needs as public for the greatest visibility. Public means that it'll be seen on multiple websites around your area if other organizations are using Meet the Need. Semi-private means it'll only be on your website, and it won't be seen anywhere else. And some needs you do want that way. I mean, churches may have an event going on and they only want those needs, visible by their church members. Well, then they would choose to post those needs as semi-private. But for most nonprofits, your needs will be public. From your dashboard, I do encourage you to go to your help menu and go to local outreach tips, and we have best practices for posting needs. There's a document there. It's where this print screen came from on the left, that really goes into detail for each piece of that posting a need page, the best practices for each and every field when you're posting a need. I want to dive a little bit more when you're posting a need into URLs, and using some HTML coding when you're posting needs. This is covered in our posting a need video through the dashboard, but I wanted to address it here as well. You may not realize it, but when you're posting a need, the need description and the resources and materials, if you type the letters HTTP, semicolon, / www, and then whatever else that comes after it, for a website address. When you type those, a website address in that format, then when the need is posted, that URL automatically changes to the words "click here," and it shows like a hyperlink, so that your readers can easily click and go to the website that you're wanting to direct them to. I do want to keep in mind, you don't want to direct people to a lot of different places when they're in the middle of reading about a need, because then that may stop them from actually adopting the need, and they'll get redirected somewhere else and forget that they were in the process of adopting a need. But this is good to put information in there, because this description and these resources and materials do show, and even the links that you have do show in the confirmation and reminder emails. So as they're looking at it to see what their next steps are, from the emails, your links will show in those emails. Let's see. Another thing that you want to keep in mind, here's some simple and some sample HTML coding when you're posting needs. You can use HTML coding in the midst of the need description or the resources or materials. For instance, if you want a certain word to be bolded or underlined or italics or a certain color or even highlighted in yellow, if you want to make a certain word a hypertext, if you want to start a new paragraph, maybe put some bullet points in a need description, you have the options to do that. And here's some coding that we use and you can use to do that. And here's kind of how it works. In the need description, you might say, leaders needed to disciple new believers must complete the following. And, I changed the font size. I made it red prior to serving. And then there's a link to an application, interview dates to be arranged individually. Looks like I maybe italicized that. We put them in bullet points. We put bullet points. You have to do the application, the interview, and training. And then we put in an email hyperlink to someone's email address. And so this coding from the previous page, inserted into a description like it is up here at the top, will yield something like this down here at the bottom, where it's in different fonts, colors, bullets, hyperlinks, and make it a little more user-friendly and for your volunteers and members to be able to find out more about those needs. All right, sharing with partners. If you're on your Meet the Need dashboard, we have a share button, which is fairly new. Well, 6 months or so, more like 8 months or so. There's a share button there where, or actually, no, we've always had a share button. We just moved it when we put in the new dashboard. But there's a share button that has all the resources there for you to be able to share Meet the Need with other partnering churches or nonprofits in your area. We call this your toolbox. There's information on how to share in social media. There's a sample email, PowerPoint presentation, a one-page flyer, all the Meet the Need frequently asked questions from new organizations, a full color brochure, testimonials, and even a document that outlines their next steps as an organization. So we make it easy for you to share. As always, we're here if you need to do a webinar and want us to host a webinar for you and for your partners, we're willing to do that, or even come out in person. But these are ways that we are here to empower you, either as a city reaching organization or maybe just a local church or a nonprofit that wants to see the city serving together and cut down on the duplication of posting of needs and helping of families. These are the resources that you would need to share Meet the Need. Best practices for mobilizing your members to serve. We have a document, and that's what these are taken from. If you go again to help and then local outreach tips from your dashboard, it's the top 10 keys to enliven your church through serving. But obviously advocacy from a senior pastor is important. If you're a church, you know this. If a pastor says it from the pulpit, people are more willing to move. So if there's a sermon that's happening related to service, directing them to your website to be able to find needs and connect. It really is the how they can go and serve, where the sermon might be directed more towards the why they should go and serve. But include serving in your discipleship process as you're bringing up new members in your church and really growing them in Christ. Having a place where you would direct them to know where they can go on your website to find needs and to go out in the community and serve is something that's very important. Organizing a recurring serve day as a kickoff for those new members that come in and maybe have never been exposed to serving or want more exposure to serving. A serve day to expose them to a lot of different needs is a great way to get them started, although we don't recommend events all year round going on all the time, because then that really enables the body where you want to empower them. But it's a great kickoff. Sharing testimonies, as your members and volunteers are adopting needs and they're serving, the reminder emails remind them to go in and input a testimonial of how their time went serving. You as an administrator have access to those testimonials, and you can go and read those and share them with a congregation or with your volunteers in newsletters and emails to help motivate them for others to want to serve more. If you're a church, small groups are a great way to get serving going in your church by mobilizing and equipping the small group leaders to let them know where they can go search for needs to get their group out serving together. Holding an internal needs campaign. This is a great way where maybe you're a church that has a lot of needs within your church and you want to start somewhere. So start within the church and mobilizing our members to serve, and hold a campaign where people would fill out cards and write what needs they have, and then go and post those needs on your website, and then let members who have resources go and meet those needs and connect even within the church to meet needs. You can host a missions fair and have your partners come to your church, have them already registered with Meet the Need and needs posted, and people walk around and visit with those ministries and nonprofits, and then they can go on a laptop or an iPad right there in the lobby and sign up for specific needs that organization had already posted. You can get connected socially by all the needs that you post. You can either post a link to all of them or post a link to individual needs. But when you post in Facebook or Twitter or even on Pinterest, you can put links to the needs that are that need to be met and really connect those needs through social media. Church-wide emails. If you send church-wide emails to your members, maybe a monthly newsletter or serving activity that's happening, then you can include those links in emails as well. And then, of course, bulletin announcements, always having something in the bulletin that directs your members back to your website to find needs in the community. Really, all of these in some capacity should be used by churches. People need to hear things 7+ times before they actually act. So having some of these in place at the same time and at different parts of the year are best practices to really mobilize your members to serve. And check out that document that I mentioned down here at the bottom. That is a great resource with more information on each one of these that I just talked about. Best practices for getting your needs met. This is mostly for nonprofits or maybe even churches too that are posting needs. But you want to make sure that all your church partners are showing your needs on their website. You may not realize this, but churches, when they join Meet the Need, they do have the option to hide certain organizations from showing on their website. You want to make sure the churches that you work with most heavily have not hidden your needs for some reason. So make sure that they're showing your needs on their website, and you want to look at your own home page, your own website, and is Meet the Need on your homepage? Are you showing needs on your website? So that way they're showing on your website, they're also showing on your church partners' websites as well. And then you want to make sure, are all your volunteers approved members? As volunteers adopt needs, they come in as pending members on your dashboard. Well, you need to move those members every so often from pending to approved so that when the next time you post needs, they get the new needs posted email that says, hey, such and such nonprofit just posted new needs, click here to check it out. If they're not approved members of your organization, then they're not going to get that email, and that helps to pull people to your needs as well as waiting for them to go to your website to see those needs. You want to ask yourself, are you driving people to your website? Your needs are on your website. So you want to make sure that all your communications are driving them to that website to see your needs. And how often are you posting needs? If you only post needs once every 6 months, people are going to forget you're out there. But if you're posting needs every day, that's a little too often because they're getting those emails. So you want to make sure that the frequency of you posting needs, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, depending on how many needs you have. You want to make sure that those volunteers that have volunteered with you in the past know that there are still needs out there and that you would like them to come and help. And so the frequency of posting your needs is important. Again, there's another document under your help menu under local outreach tips. Check that out for more information. All right, I've got a few more minutes here. I want to hit a few more power users before we run out of time. But these are some power users that use Meet the Need and how they use us, what modules they're using us for. This is a small nonprofit in Keller, Texas, Christ Haven for Children. They're using us for volunteer management, resource management, and event management. There's a quote down there that they wrote about us, but if you go to their website, they have a volunteer button. Nice. You got to scroll down a little bit, but not much, but there's the volunteer button. And then if you want to find out more about how Christ Haven is using us, you can click up here in the top when I send you the PowerPoint presentation and watch a webinar that featured them. And we use them for our effective outreach webinar. Here's a power user. It's a large nonprofit here in the Tampa Bay area, Metropolitan Ministries. They use us for ongoing needs at 2 different locations. They connect with 65 plus partners during the holidays in 3 different counties. They schedule over 22,000 families, 21,000 volunteers, 136,000 volunteer hours through Meet the Need. So they're definitely a power user. And they use this for all of our modules except for international missions, because obviously they're a local organization. And there's a quote down there from them about Meet the Need. And we also have a webinar featuring them if you want to click and find out more about how they're using us. This is a power user. It's a small church here in Tampa. It's a Westtown church. They're called Westtown Church. If you go to their website, they have a Serve Others button. Love it. Very clear. They're using us for volunteer and resource management. They're using us in one of the most simplest of ways, which is also one of the most powerful ways, which it means they're not posting needs at all. They are just showing needs of the Tampa Bay area of organizations that are already posting for their members to go out, kind of giving their members an open door, an open window to go and serve in the community. And then they simply just encourage their members to go and serve through the many different best practices that we talked about earlier. There's also a power user, a medium church, Christ Fellowship El Dorado in McKinney, Texas. They use this for all of our modules except for the multi-location family scheduling and international missions. But they host 3 multi-church events through a city-reaching organization called 3E McKinney. They post family needs, and they even post needs in Spanish, which I love to see organizations using us in new ways, and that's one of the ways that they've chosen to use us. And you can click up at the top for a webinar that features them and how they use Meet the Need. There is a large church called the Park Church in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's one of our power users. They use this for their local, national, international, and serve at their church. They have over 800 active members using Meet the Need, over 6,000 plus volunteer hours, and they haven't even done a church-wide launch. And they've been using us for 2 years now. They're looking this year to really focus on that church-wide launch. So we're really going to see their activity explode. But you can click to watch a webinar with them or featuring them on local missions. And there's a quote down at the bottom from them. Our city reaching organization that's a great power user is Advancing Vibrant Communities. They're out in Modesto, California, and they use this for all their shared case management and tracking the families that they serve. They post family needs. They have over 4,000 family needs, over 1,000 families that they've run through Meet the Need, and they share those needs with partnering churches in the area. Their website, they have the 3 audiences that most city reaching organizations address on their website through Meet the Need. Meeting a need, those wanting to serve, signing up a church or organization, that's the church or ministry leaders looking to connect to Meet the Need, and then church or ministry partners online, so that those looking for a place to connect different organizations to get help, they can do that through, they have a standard directory that we've provided them. But primarily, they're a power user in shared case management, and they do a wonderful job of connecting individual members of churches to needs of families in the community. Are there any questions at this time? I feel like I have covered a year's worth of information in about 50 minutes. But if you have any specific questions, feel free to type them in, and I'll be sure to answer them. If you don't have a specific question, or maybe you want me to address it offline, you can contact me at any time. I'll give you my contact information here at the end of the webinar. But I'm not seeing any questions come up, so I'm going to go ahead and go on to what's coming this summer. I know everybody's been waiting for this. We have our volunteer management enhancements coming this summer. I've been feverishly testing these on our test server. All of these are in place. We're just making some minor tweaks to a few features before we are ready to release it to specific organizations. But this summer, smartphone-friendly signups will be here. We'll have a reformatted search page, group signups by invitation. So a team leader can send an email with a link for group members to sign up for a particular need, barcode and driver's license volunteer check-in, real-time reporting of actual hours served as you check in volunteers, detailed volunteer profiles and group profiles, customizable emails. We have a new reservation manager where admins can schedule volunteers to come back for particular needs. And we're going to be consolidating a lot of our reporting to make it simpler. So it's a lot of new changes coming this summer. Be looking for those. We have a newsletter coming out probably in the next week or so with more information about this. But as soon as we're ready to go live with it, we'll be contacting organizations one by one to see when you want to schedule your launch date for your particular organization over the summer. If you want to go watch our February webinar back here, or right here in the top right-hand corner, there is a link for you to go watch the February webinar, which outlines all the changes that are coming with the volunteer management enhancements. So go watch that webinar for more information. If you want more information, which I know I've shared a lot with you already, but we do have more, go to your dashboard under training. There is an FAQ button. And you can search all the frequently asked questions. You can see all the different categories down here, but you can search all the categories and even search by keyword to have your particular question answered. Also on that training button are all of our, video tutorials, anywhere from 2 minutes to 15-minute tutorials on different pieces and features of Meet the Need. All right, other related webinars. This is just one that we're doing right now, which is outreach best practices and empower users. But we also have webinars on events, case management, missions, city reaching, reporting, external focus, more best practices, local missions. If you go to the help button on your dashboard, there is a link, Meet the Need webinars, and you can access the last 12 months of webinars that we've had. So definitely take advantage of those to find out and dive in more to specific topics about Meet the Need. All right, our next user webinar is August 11th at 1 p.m. We are skipping July. They're typically every second Tuesday, but everyone's gone in the summer, so we're going to take a break too. But our next topic is volunteer and event management. That's going to be a very important topic as you launch and get ready to go into the fall. And we'll have our volunteer management enhancements in place, so that webinar is going to be perfectly timed to be able to cover everything that's gone live for volunteer management and get you ready for the fall. Look for an invite in our newsletters and in our signatures and our emails, and mark your calendars for every second Tuesday resuming in August. There's more. You can always join with us on our website with our blog, our newsletter, watch the recorded webinars that I already talked about. Also connect with us through Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and LinkedIn, as we are active in social media to give you more information about outreach best practices. Not necessarily about Meet the Need. A lot of these social media posts that we do are more general, and you may even want to take some of those and share them in your social media posts. So definitely check us out there. We are your Meet the Need member services team. Myself, Tanya Nichols, I primarily help the larger, kind of the extra large churches and customized projects, where Jill helps the medium-sized churches and city reaching organizations. And we are here to serve you at any time. And you can contact us. If you don't know which one of us is your member service representative, you can always contact support@meettheneed.org, and we'll make sure to get you in the right direction. But we are here to serve you at any time, so feel free to contact us. I pray that all of you have found our time together useful and fruitful. And until we meet again, I will see you in August, unless I hear from you offline and other means. But have a blessed day, and look forward to connecting soon.